Once upon a time, in a land blessed with peace and overflowing with riches, there lived a great king. His kingdom was vast, his treasury full of gold and jewels, and countless servants attended to his every need. Yet, for all his power and wealth, the king often felt a profound loneliness echoing through the grand halls of his palace. He had everything a monarch could desire, but he lacked a true companion, someone to share his thoughts and brighten his days. One afternoon, a traveling merchant arrived at the palace gates, carrying with him a treasure far more precious than gold. He presented the king with a magnificent green parrot, its feathers shimmering like emeralds in the sunlight. But this was no ordinary bird. "Your Majesty," the merchant announced, "this parrot can speak the language of men." The king's eyes widened with delight. He had never seen such a creature. He immediately had a splendid golden cage crafted for the parrot and placed it right beside his throne. From that day on, the king's loneliness began to fade. Every day, he would spend hours talking with his new friend. The parrot was witty and intelligent, its voice filled with a cheerful charm. It learned quickly and soon became the king's most trusted confidant. Each morning, without fail, the parrot would greet him with a joyful chirp. "Good morning, Your Majesty. May your day be as bright and happy as the morning sun." The king would smile, his heart warmed by the simple greeting. "And thank you, my little friend," he would reply. "Your words are the sunshine that brightens my world." Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, and the king came to love the parrot, not as a pet, but as a true and loyal friend. The palace, once a silent and solitary place for the king, was now filled with laughter and conversation. The parrot would tell him stories of the distant lands it had seen, mimicking the sounds of the jungle and the songs of other birds. The king, in turn, would share the burdens of his crown, the decisions he had to make, and the dreams he held for his kingdom. The parrot would listen intently, its head tilted, offering simple yet surprisingly wise words that often brought clarity to the king's mind. The courtiers and servants marveled at the transformation. Their once somber king was now full of life, his smile a common sight, all thanks to the little green bird in the golden cage. However, a shadow soon fell upon this happy scene. One morning, the king entered his throne room to find the parrot silent. It didn't offer its usual cheerful greeting. It just sat on its perch, its vibrant feathers looking dull and its bright eyes clouded with sadness. The king tried to coax it, offering its favorite fruits and nuts, but the parrot refused to eat. It wouldn't speak a single word. Days turned into a week, and the silence grew heavier. The king's worry turned to desperation. He summoned the royal physician, the most learned doctors, and even magicians from across the land. They all examined the parrot, but none could find what ailed it. The bird was not sick. They all agreed, yet its spirit was clearly fading. Just as the king was beginning to lose all hope, news of his plight reached a wise old man who lived a simple life in the mountains. He was known for his deep understanding of the hearts of both men and animals. The old man journeyed to the palace and was brought before the king. He didn't use any instruments or potions. He simply stood before the golden cage and looked at the sad little parrot for a long, quiet moment. He then turned to the anxious king. "Your Majesty," he said in a calm, gentle voice, "this bird is not sick, it is lonely." The king was taken aback. "Lonely, but I am with it every day. I talk to it, I care for it, it is my dearest friend." The wise man nodded. "You are its friend, yes, but it is a prisoner. It misses the vast open sky. It yearns for the feel of the wind beneath its wings and the company of its own kind. Its heart is longing for the freedom it once knew." The king was shocked. The thought had never crossed his mind. He looked at the beautiful golden cage, which he had seen as a symbol of his affection, and suddenly saw it for what it was, a prison. A wave of sadness washed over him. "But if I set it free," he said, his voice trembling, "it will fly away. It may never return, and I will be alone again." The old wise man placed a comforting hand on the king's arm. He smiled softly and said, "If you truly love something, you must set it free." True friendship, Your Majesty, is not built on possession or control. It is built on trust and freedom. If its bond with you is true, it will return. The wise man's words resonated deep within the king's heart. He looked at his silent friend, whose spirit was caged just as its body was. He knew what he had to do, no matter how much it hurt. With a heavy heart, he walked to the cage, his hands hesitating for a moment before unlatching the golden door. He opened it wide. The parrot looked at the open door, then at the king, a glimmer of understanding in its eyes. It hopped to the edge, spread its magnificent wings, and with a powerful thrust, launched itself into the air. The king watched as his friend soared higher and higher, a tiny green speck against the vast blue canvas of the sky, until it disappeared from sight. Tears streamed down the king's face as he stood by the empty cage, the silence in the room now more profound than ever. The days that followed were difficult for the king. The palace felt emptier and more silent than it ever had before. The golden cage by his throne was a constant, painful reminder of his loss. He missed the parrot's cheerful morning greetings, its funny stories, and its comforting presence. He had followed the wise man's advice, but the fear that he had lost his friend forever gnawed at him. He governed his kingdom, he met with his council, but a piece of his heart was missing, soaring somewhere in the endless sky. He wondered if he had made a terrible mistake. But then, one glorious morning, as the first rays of the sun painted the sky in hues of pink and gold, the king was awakened by a familiar sound. A joyful, chirping melody drifted through his open window. He sat up, his heart pounding with hope. And there, perched on his windowsill, was his dear friend, the green parrot. Its feathers brighter and more beautiful than ever before. It flew across the room and landed gently on the king's shoulder. It nuzzled against his cheek and chirped, its voice clear and happy. "Good morning, Your Majesty." I have come back because you are my truest friend." The king's heart overflowed with a joy he had never known. He laughed, tears of happiness rolling down his cheeks as he gently stroked the parrot's head. His friend had returned. The wise man was right. From that day forward, the golden cage remained open, a symbol not of confinement, but of an open invitation. The parrot was free to fly wherever it pleased, exploring the world and visiting its friends in the forest. But every single day, it returned to the palace to be with the king. Their friendship, now forged in trust and freedom, became legendary throughout the kingdom. A timeless story proving that the strongest bonds are not those that chain us, but those that give us wings to fly and a reason to come home. Thank you so much for joining me for this wonderful story. If it touched your heart, please don't forget to like this video. Leave a comment with your thoughts and subscribe to the channel for more tales that warm the soul. We'll see you in the next story. Bye for now.